So, apparently, the trailer for The Summer I Turned Pretty, the movie just got leaked and it's already breaking the fandom apart. You'd think after season 3's Paris ending, people would have calmed down, but nope. What's in this so-called trailer just reopened every wound the finale left behind. It starts quiet, like a dream. Belly standing alone on a beach that doesn't look like Cousins at all. The sand's darker, the sky's cloudy, and there's no laughter. No music, just waves hitting hard like the silence between her and Conrad. After everything that went down in France. And then, out of nowhere, you hear his voice. Just one line, "You promised you wouldn't forget me." It's not the tone of a love story anymore. It's guilt. It's distance. It's to people trying to hold on to something they already lost once, now. Whether this trailer is real or not, it's got everyone spinning. Because if it is legit, it completely flips what fans thought the movie was supposed to be about. Remember, Jenny Han said the movie would capture the next milestone in Belly's life. Everyone assumed that meant marriage, Conrad and Belly finally walking down that aisle. We've been teased with since season 1. But this footage? It doesn't look like a wedding movie. It looks like heartbreak in slow motion. And that's exactly what makes it feel believable. Because Jenny never does fairy tales. She does endings that hurt just enough to feel real from what we've gathered. The leak supposedly came from a Prime video test screening in LA. A few anonymous posts started showing up online, claiming the first teaser had major timeline skips, with Belly writing letters to Conrad like the ones Susanna left behind. That small detail letters matches what Han mentioned earlier this year about wanting the story to explore long-distance love and emotional maturity. So yeah, this might actually be the real deal. But here's where it gets tricky. The trailer doesn't just show Belly and Conrad. It shows Jeremiah too, only not in the way people expected. One clip shows him walking into what looks like a rehearsal dinner, laughing, looking happy. But when he spots someone off camera, his smile drops instantly. And fans think that's the moment he sees Belly in a wedding dress. The tension's all over his face. Now imagine how wild that'll be to see on the big screen. Jeremiah finally accepting that he's lost her, but still standing there, supporting her like he always did. It's poetic, but it's painful too. Some fans even claim the leak shows him giving a toast saying something like, "Sometimes love means letting go before it turns into hate." If that line's real, Jenny Han might have just written her most mature moment yet, but there's more. A quick frame from the leak shows Belly holding Susanna's letter, the one we've been waiting years to see her read. The camera supposedly zooms in on a few words that break everyone's heart. "He was always yours." Fans went insane after that surfaced on Reddit. Because if those are the actual words from the film, that means Susanna always believed Belly and Conrad were meant to be, even when Jeremiah was still in the picture. That changes everything. It reframes the entire love triangle we've been debating since episode 1. And just when people thought they'd seen it all, another blurry screenshot appeared, this time showing Belly looking at a photo of her mom and Susanna together, with the line "You'll know when it's time" whispered over it. Now, that part doesn't come from the books, which means Han is adding new layers, more emotional closure, more meaning behind the choices Belly makes. Fans believe it hints at Belly returning home after years apart, maybe to say goodbye to someone, maybe to start something new, whether real or fake. This leak hits different because it feels personal. It's not flashy, it's not dramatic, it's nostalgic and heavy, like closure wrapped in confusion. And that's the thing, Jenny Han always plays with nostalgia. Her stories make you want the past back, even when you know it's gone. That's why this so-called trailer has everyone so conflicted. It's not just a preview, it's a reminder that growing up means letting go, even of the people who once felt like home. Now, here's where things get interesting. According to a few insiders, the final cut of the trailer actually includes a new character someone fans didn't expect to see. A mysterious woman reading one of Belly's letters, sitting beside a baby stroller. The shot only lasts a few seconds, but it's already got theories flying that the movie might take place years after the wedding. Could this be Belly's future self? Could that child be Conrad's? No one knows yet, but if true, Jenny Han might be closing the saga with one final twist, showing the long-term cost of every choice Belly made since that first summer. Either way, whether this trailer leak is real or just another internet stunt, it's done exactly what Jenny Han would want. It's made everyone feel something again. Curiosity, pain, nostalgia, excitement, it's all there. The kind of emotions that make you wish the story never ended. And maybe that's the point. Maybe the trailer isn't even about spoilers, it's about reminding us why this series meant so much in the first place. Because in the end, The Summer I Turned Pretty was never just about Belly choosing between two brothers. It was about all of us remembering that growing up as messy, loving people is risky. And sometimes closure isn't the ending, it's just another beginning. After the leak spread, social media went into full meltdown mode. Fans started dissecting every second of that grainy trailer like detectives on a mission. Threads on X, TikTok edits, even full Reddit breakdowns popped up overnight, each one claiming to have cracked the mystery of what Jenny Han's final chapter is really about. Some were convinced the wedding wasn't even real, that it was just a dream sequence, something Belly imagined while reading Susanna's letter. Others said it was a flash forward to the future, years after the events in Paris. But the most talked about theory? That the movie opens with the wedding and ends with Belly walking away from it. Yeah, imagine that. After everything, 3 seasons, years of waiting, countless tears, Jenny Han might actually pull a reverse ending and make Belly choose herself in the end. And honestly, that sounds exactly like her style, because if you've followed Jenny's work, you know she never lets her characters get off easy. There's always growth through pain. There's always that one bittersweet moment that lingers after the credits roll. That's what makes The Summer I Turned Pretty special. It doesn't just tell a story about love. It shows what love costs. And that's what fans are sensing from this trailer. It's not a fairy tale ending. It's a reality check. Belly's face in those leaked clips doesn't glow with the same innocence from season 1. There's something tired in her eyes, like she's seen what love can take out of you. And that's powerful. Because this time, it's not about teenage crushes or summer flings, it's about real life now. Remember how Jenny said she wanted the actors to feel closer to adulthood before filming the movie? That line suddenly makes a lot more sense. If this trailer is legit, we're not just picking up where season 3 left off, we're jumping years ahead. Belly's no longer that confused girl torn between 2 brothers. She's a woman facing the consequences of every choice she made. The trailer's color palette even reflects that. Fans noticed the warm cousins' beach sunlight is gone, replaced by colder tones, muted skies, and shadows that stretch longer than they used to. It's like the series has grown up with her. The summer's over. Reality has finally arrived. Another huge talking point from the leak was that hospital scene. Yeah, the one people barely noticed at first. A blurry shot of Conrad sitting in a waiting room, looking down at his hands, no dialogue, just silence. The fandom went crazy trying to figure out who's in that hospital bed. Some say it's Laurel, Belly's mom, maybe tying back to her health storyline. Others think it's Jeremiah, finally paying the emotional price for everything he's bottled up over the years. But one Reddit user claimed the shot cuts to Belly standing outside the door, holding a small envelope with her handwriting on it. If that's true, it might be one of those letters she mentioned writing during their time apart, something she never got to deliver. If that's really part of the film, it could be Jenny's way of showing that closure doesn't always come from words. It comes from forgiveness. And let's talk about that piano scene. That one detail that fans keep circling back to. A soft melody playing under Belly's voice over something that sounds eerily like the same tune Conrad played in season 2. It's faint, nostalgic, almost haunting. Some claim it's the song Belly danced to as a kid. Others think it's symbolic, Conrad's silent apology for everything that went unsaid. Either way, it's the kind of emotional callback Jenny loves slipping in. Those subtle reminders that the past never really leaves you. It just echoes differently over time. Still, what has everyone really buzzing isn't just the leaked footage, it's Jenny Han's silence. Usually, she's quick to shut down rumors or confirm details. But this time, nothing. No tweets, no statements, no denials. Which is exactly why fans believe the leak might be a marketing move. Think about it, Prime Video has done surprise drops before. What if the leak was planted on purpose to test fan reactions? They did the same thing with season 2's teaser. Remember the blurry cousins beach poster that suddenly vanished after 24 hours? Same energy here. A controlled chaos, letting the fandom go wild while quietly shaping how the story will be received. And if that's true, then Jenny's playing for D chess right now. She's letting us argue, speculate, and emotionally invest before the trailer even officially drops. Every theory, every debate, every emotional breakdown online, it's free promotion. But deeper than that, it's connection. Because The Summer I Turned Pretty fandom isn't just about watching the story, it's about feeling it together. Every heartbreak, every letter, every goodbye, it hits harder because we've grown up with these characters. That's why people care so much about a few blurry screenshots. It's not about spoilers. It's about closure. But here's something no one's talking about. If this trailer is hinting at the wedding, then who's narrating the story? The leaked audio doesn't sound like Belly. Fans who enhanced the sound claim the voice is older, softer, possibly Susanna's. Imagine that. The story coming full circle, told from the woman who started it all. It's poetic and haunting at the same time. If true, Jenny Han just pulled off something most writers never dare to do: let the dead narrate the living, connecting the past and present one last time. That's not just storytelling, that's legacy. So yeah, whether this trailer is a leak or a setup, one thing's clear, it's reignited something in the fandom we haven't felt in a long time. That anticipation, that ache, that craving for one more summer, even when we know it's gone. Because at its core, The Summer I Turned Pretty was never just about first loves, it was about last chances. And maybe, just maybe, this movie isn't giving us the ending we expected, it's giving us the ending we need. The craziest part about this whole situation is how deep people have gone trying to decode every symbol in that leaked trailer. Fans are zooming in on ring boxes, car mirrors, and even reflections in glass trying to spot what Jenny Han's really hinting at. And that's how we ended up with what might be the biggest theory yet, that the movie doesn't actually start with a wedding but with a breakup. One fan pointed out how the dress Belly's wearing in the trailer isn't the same as the one she wore in those promo shots from the Paris finale. It's simpler, more classic, almost like it's from a flashback or an alternate timeline. And when you think about Jenny's obsession with circular storytelling, that theory starts to make sense. Maybe this movie begins where the whole saga started at Cousins Beach, but now the memories aren't sweet anymore. They're heavy. That tone shift fits perfectly with the emotion Jenny's been building since the very first season. Because The Summer I Turned Pretty was never really about picking a boy. It was about learning what love actually means when the world stops being fair. So, if this movie is the end, it makes sense that it wouldn't wrap everything up neatly. Jenny never writes neat. She writes truth. And sometimes, truth hurts. The leaked trailer proves it. You can tell just by the way Belly looks at Conrad in that one blurry frame. It's not joy. It's peace mixed with regret. Like she finally understands that loving him doesn't mean keeping him. It means accepting that they're both different now, even if they still belong to each other somehow. But there's another twist no one saw coming. In one of the leaked clips, someone noticed a name tag on a hospital chart, Dr. Conrad Fisher. That's right. Looks like our boy actually became the doctor Susanna always believed he would. And suddenly, that one line from the books hits harder than ever. He was always meant to fix what was broken. If that's part of the movie, Jenny might be giving us a full circle redemption story. The boy who once couldn't save his mother finally learning how to save others. But fans also caught something else right next to his name. The chart listed patient B. Conklin. That alone has the fandom losing sleep. Is Belly sick? Is it pregnancy related? Is it emotional? No one knows. But that's exactly the type of emotional chaos Jenny thrives on. She'll make you hope, panic, and cry all in the same scene. Now, about Jeremiah, because no matter how much the story centers around Belly and Conrad, he's still the heart that keeps this triangle alive. In the leaked footage, he's seen cooking in a restaurant kitchen, smiling, confident, alive. A total contrast to the broken Jeremiah we left in season 3. And here's the kicker, someone swears there's a scene of him watching Belly and Conrad's wedding video on a tablet, and instead of breaking down, he smiles. That moment hit everyone hard because it means he finally let go. It's not jealousy anymore, it's closure. Fans are calling it his healing arc, the piece he never got on the show. That's something the fandom needed too. For years, people have been divided into Team Conrad and Team Jeremiah, but if this scene is real, Jenny just ended the war with one small smile. But the biggest shock of all? There's supposedly a post-credits scene. Yeah, you heard that right, a post-credits scene in The Summer I Turned Pretty. According to a few insiders, it shows an older Belly reading Susanna's letter again. This time sitting beside a teenage girl on a porch. The girl asks, was it worth it? And Belly just says, every part of it, if that's the real ending. It's not just closure for her, it's closure for us. It's Jenny Han saying goodbye to her own characters the same way we have to. No grand speeches. No over-the-top finale, just quiet acceptance that some stories end when they're meant to. Not when we want them to, and you know what's wild? That kind of emotional maturity fits perfectly with what Jenny said months ago about wanting the movie to feel grown. She didn't want another round of high school heartbreaks or beach house drama. She wanted to show what comes after the weight of real love, real loss, and real forgiveness. That's why the trailer looks so different, so calm, so still. It's not chaos anymore, it's reflection. You can almost feel it in every scene. Like time has slowed down just long enough for these characters to finally breathe. But here's something that no one seems to notice. That trailer doesn't show Cousins Beach once. Not a single wave, not one shot of that house. It's like the story has finally moved on, like Cousins exists now only in memory. Maybe that's the message. The summer that changed everything is gone, and it's supposed to be. Because The Summer I Turned Pretty was never about the place. It was about the people who made it feel like home. And as they grow up, that home shifts too. That's why the trailer feels heavy. It's saying goodbye not just to a story, but to an era. So yeah, if this leak is legit, then Jenny Han didn't just make a movie, she made a goodbye letter. A quiet, emotional final chapter that doesn't scream for attention but stays with you long after it's over. It's about moving on but remembering, loving but not losing yourself in it. And that's the kind of ending that hits harder than any wedding, any kiss, or any reunion ever could. Because when you think about it, The Summer I Turned Pretty was never really about who Belly ended up with. It was about who she became because of them. What's really wild is how this leak, whether real or fake, has brought back the same kind of emotional chaos that started it all. The fandom is living into timelines right now, one where Belly finally gets her fairy tale ending, and one where that ending doesn't even exist. And honestly, that's what makes this whole thing so addictive. It's that uncertainty, that Jenny Han unpredictability. She always gives us the illusion of peace, then flips it on its head. That's why fans can't stop watching those few seconds on repeat, frame by frame, like they're trying to solve a mystery buried under nostalgia. But maybe that's the point. Maybe Jenny wants us to chase answers that don't exist. Because that's what growing up feels like. You spend years trying to make sense of moments that already passed. And then there's this one quote that popped up online, a line supposedly from the leaked script draft that no one can confirm but everyone's talking about. Belly says, "You can't relive a summer that's already gone, but you can carry it with you forever." That hit different. Because it's not just about the show, it's about us too. Fans grew up watching this story unfold year after year, waiting for Belly to finally figure out what she wanted. And now that she has, it feels like we're the ones being told to move on. Jenny's smart like that. She doesn't just end stories, she ends eras. She makes her characters grow in real time, and that's exactly why this movie might hurt the most. It's not heartbreak for the characters, it's heartbreak for us, realizing that this is really the last chapter now. Another thing that's been circulating is a set photo that supposedly shows the cast filming in Wilmington, North Carolina, the same location that doubled as Cousins Beach. But here's the kicker, there's a shot of a small gravestone near the pier. Fans zoomed in and claimed they saw the initials SF carved on it. That's Susanna Fisher. If that's true, then maybe the movie starts where everything began, with Belly returning to Cousins one last time to honor Susanna. That alone would explain the letter scenes, the emotional tone, the darker color palette. It's like the story's been trying to close the loop all along. And honestly, it's poetic. Because Susanna was never just a background character, she was the heart of it all. The mother figure, the dreamer, the one who believed in love even when it hurt. Ending the story by bringing her back, even symbolically, would be the perfect goodbye. But not everyone's convinced this leak is the full story. Some insiders are saying the trailer is actually misleading, that Jenny cut it together on purpose to hide the real twist. According to them, the leaked version we saw online is missing a few key shots that completely changed the narrative. Apparently, there's a version that ends with Belly narrating, and then there was one more summer, followed by a wide shot of a beach no one recognizes. No Conrad, no Jeremiah, just waves and her voice fading out. If that's real, then Jenny's not just ending the story, she's leaving it open, letting the audience imagine what happens next. That's bold. It's the kind of storytelling that refuses to give you closure but somehow gives you peace anyway. And while the internet is still debating all that, there's something else stirring underneath, the idea that this movie might be Jenny's most personal work yet. In interviews, she's hinted that Belly's final chapter mirrors her own journey as a writer. That feeling of watching something you love come to an end but knowing it's time to let go. You can sense that energy all over this project. The way the tone shifts, the maturity of the dialogue, even the pacing, it all feels like a goodbye letter from Jenny to her fans. She's not just closing a story, she's closing a part of herself that's been alive since the first book. That's what makes this so emotional. Because when an artist writes from that place, you don't just watch the ending, you feel it. Another moment people keep mentioning is the one where Belly walks through the empty Fisher house. No music, no dialogue, just the sound of creaking floors and ocean wind. Fans swear they saw her stop in front of Susanna's old painting and touch it, whispering, "Thank you." It's the kind of quiet scene that says everything without saying a word. It's her finally letting go of the past, the summers, the love triangle, the confusion. It's Belly realizing she doesn't need to belong to anyone to feel whole. And if that really is part of the movie, it might be the single most beautiful moment in the entire saga. Because at its core, this story was never about picking between Conrad and Jeremiah, it was about Belly learning to choose herself, and the deeper you think about it, the more it makes sense why the trailer leak feels like an emotional gut punch. We've been trained to expect endings tied with neat bows, but Jenny's giving us something else, something raw, messy, real. Because that's what love is. It's beautiful, it's painful, and sometimes it doesn't make sense until years later. This movie seems like it's embracing all of that, the imperfection, the lingering pain, the beauty in letting things fade. That's what makes this leak so believable. It feels too honest to be fake. But here's the thing no one saw coming: if the rumors about the flash-forward scenes are true, then this story doesn't just end with Belly and Conrad's wedding. It ends with time itself. Older Belly, older Conrad. Maybe even their kids carrying the same letter Susanna wrote all those years ago. A letter that keeps getting passed down, generation after generation. If that's real, it means The Summer I Turned Pretty isn't just about youth or love anymore, it's about legacy. About how one summer, one choice, one heartbreak can ripple through time and still matter years later. And that kind of storytelling? That's Jenny Han in her absolute best. So yeah, call it a leak, call it a hoax, whatever it is. It's doing its job. It's making us feel something again. It's making us remember why we cared so much in the first place. Because no matter how it ends, one thing's for sure, The Summer I Turned Pretty has already become more than a story. It's a memory we're all still trying to hold on to, even as it slips through our fingers. By the time the dust settles, one thing becomes clear: this isn't just a movie anymore. It's closure wrapped in nostalgia. It's the final chapter of something that grew with us, changed with us, and broke us in the same quiet way summer always does, softly, then all at once. Because even if half the leaked trailer turns out fake, the feeling it sparked, that's real. You can't fake that kind of ache, that kind of silence after the storm. When you realize a story that once felt infinite is finally saying goodbye. Jenny Han didn't just write about first love, she wrote about growing out of it. About the pain of realizing even the brightest summers fade eventually. And maybe that's why people are reacting so hard. Deep down, everyone's lived a version of Belly's story. Everyone's had a cousin's beach, that one place that held their best days, their heartbreaks, their what-ifs. And now, seeing it all come full circle, it hits different. The leaked trailer might only be a few minutes long, but it carries years of emotion. You can feel it in the colors, in the slower pacing, in the quiet pauses where Belly just looks out at the water like she's talking to time itself. It's the kind of trailer that doesn't scream for attention, it whispers, "You've been here before." And that whisper is louder than any twist or reveal. Because what this movie really seems to be saying is, endings aren't always sad. Sometimes they're necessary. Sometimes the only way to honor what you had is to let it go. What's even crazier is that the fandom isn't angry this time, they're grateful. People who used to argue over Team Conrad or Team Jeremiah are now just reminiscing about the summers that connected them in the first place. The story that once divided them is now uniting them again. That's the beauty of it, how fiction somehow becomes memory and memory becomes part of who we are. Whether you watched it for the love triangle, the drama, or the pure nostalgia, you walked away feeling something real. And isn't that the whole point? That's why Jenny Han's work keeps hitting generation after generation. Because she doesn't just show love, she shows what comes after love. The quiet, the healing, the letting go. And if this leak really does point to a film, then it's not just another adaptation, it's the final note in a song that's been playing for over a decade. Every look, every summer, every what if, finally closing into silence. It's like Jenny's telling her audience, you grew up. So did they, and there's something so painfully beautiful about that. Because sometimes the hardest part of any story isn't saying goodbye. It's accepting that the goodbye already happened long ago, you just didn't notice. Maybe that's why the trailer feels so heavy, because it's not just the end of a story. It's the end of an era we didn't realize was ending. And here's the real moral buried under all this hype and heartbreak. Life moves the same way summer does, too fast to hold on, too beautiful to forget. You'll never really get those days back, but you'll carry pieces of them in everything you do. That's what The Summer I Turned Pretty has always been about. Not who Belly ends up with, but who she becomes when the summer's gone. It's about how love changes you, how loss shapes you, and how even after everything, the ocean still sounds the same. That's why no matter what the final trailer reveals, fans already know it's going to hurt. But it's going to be worth it. Because endings like this aren't meant to make you cry. They're meant to remind you that it's okay to move on. So when the real trailer finally drops, when those official lights fade in, when that first wave crashes, remember this moment. Remember how it felt to wait, to wonder, to hope. Because that feeling right there, that's what Jenny Han wanted you to keep forever. Summers end, stories end, but the people who lived them, they don't disappear. They just turn the page, and maybe that's the quiet truth behind all the noise. The Summer I Turned Pretty isn't really ending. It's just growing up the same way we all did.